Experience. I hope you guys are having a great first week. I decided this week for my first little ramble here to be about the importance of religion in America as a cohesive social bond. So as I was studying and looking through and reading the textbooks and everything this week, there was a few things that really stood out to me as far as the social aspect of religion. Way too many to talk about here, but the three main ones are that religion served as the main point of everybody's life, and as far as in the social groups too, just because of the sheer amount of time they spent in church in the Puritan setting. It was a rallying point or cause that people could get behind who did not agree with the somewhat stifling collective Christianity of the Puritan method of religion, and it literally gave everyone something in common, which is the basis of social structure. You become friends with someone because you have something in common with them, or you have common interests. Maybe not always, but most of the time. So to expand on that a little bit, the hours upon hours of time they spent listening to sermons in the Puritan culture was insane. I know we talked about that. We read about that in chapter 2 of our textbook this week, and it was baffling, but it really served as a social point, which I think really relates to today, even though many of us do not attend a Puritan-like church. There's aspects of church that are very social. I grew up with ice cream socials at church, and so church, I think, has and probably always will serve as a social structure for something to do, especially the hours and hours that they spent listening to sermons. As time went on and the Puritan way was heavily disputed, religion served as a rallying point for people who were opposed to that kind of Christianity, in that they gave them something in common as well, but there was this passion that was stirred up. In the case of George Whitefield's preaching, which we learned about this week in the lectures, and that kind of passion unites people against something else, which is another bond that people can have. And then with that along those same lines of being against something, if you read through John Winthrop's journal just in sections, highly recommend you do. I don't know if any of you have. It is very enlightening. I mean, there's case after case that he talks about of one person calling out another person in like a store for speaking harshly. And then there was this, reckoning that had to happen, because if not, there was mutually assured destruction because there was sin in the village. And that's a pretty strong social bond. If you know everybody's business and that somebody is sinning, your crops could fail or the winter will be worse, and they had this uneasiness all the time, that proves to be something that would unite people together against something. So both sides were united against something. And then really religion was the literal whole point of why early America was started. Desiring freedom of religion, or to hit that reset button for the case of religion. And when people endure something like that, or go through persecution, and then they travel across the sea, that's going to cause a strong social bond as well. So the bottom line, even though I kind of broke this up into 3 sections, religion was a social bond because it was the common link of all of these people. It was what everyone had in common, especially in early America. As time went on, things could change. People were less sincere. There was one study that said 80% of colonial Americans in the time of the Revolutionary War were not devout Christians or church members. None of that really matters, because in early America, religion was the reason for existence. Thanks for listening to my ramble.